Many modern web applications such as YouTube and Flickr provide the end user with the ability to upload their own files for storage on a remote server. In this tutorial, we're going to create scripts that provide this functionality. We're going to create an HTML form which will allow the end user to search for and select a file from their own computer for upload. Then we're going to create a PHP script that reports the outcome of this upload and echoes this back to screen. Finally, we're going to modify this script so that the file can be moved to a permanent location on the server. The BTEC Unit 27 criteria for this tutorial is P3, and this requires us to upload files to a server using web server scripting. For this tutorial, we'll be using coding as our development environment. You can see here that we have an HTML form, and this form will allow the end user to select and upload files. So a few things to point out about this form. Firstly, on line 4, notice the action of the form. When the submit button is pressed, the form data, including the file to be uploaded, will be sent to a PHP script called uploadfile.php, which we'll be creating later. Also, notice a new attribute, enctype, which stands for encoding type. This is set to multipart /form data and is required if we wish to upload files. On line 6 we have an input field, and you need to pay attention to the type of input, here set to file and the name also set to file. By creating an input field of the type file, the browser will know to render a browse and select button. The name file will be the variable sent to the PHP script and will store the uploaded file. And finally, on line 8, we have the submit button, which when clicked will upload the file to our upload file PHP script. And here is what the end user will see, a simple form. Of course, when you develop your own web applications, you'll want to embed this into your site and style it using your own CSS files. Okay, now we can save this as file.html. Notice that I've created a new folder called File Upload, and all of the file uploading files will be stored here. It's just to keep things tidy. Okay, so now we're ready to create our PHP file. We create the file by right-clicking on the File Upload folder, select New File, and we're of course calling this file upload file.php. And this is the same name as the action in our form on line 4 there. Now we'll open upload file in a new editor and open up our PHP tags. And the first thing we're going to do is to check whether there have been any errors in the process of uploading the file. This can sometimes occur if there's network problems. And we can do this by using the if conditional. And we're going to make use of something called the file's superglobal variable. If you remember from the last tutorial, we used the superglobal variable server. PHP has a number of these available for us to use. And what the file's superglobal variable does is it stores in an array bits of information about the file and the file type and so on. So the first thing we want to do is see if there's any errors. The error variable stores the number of errors, so we can check to see whether this is greater than 0, and of course if it is greater than 0, then we know there's been an error. And we can report this back to the end user using an echo statement. I'm going to put in a string literal here just to make it a bit more user friendly. Error. The full stop for the concatenation. And then we can access the file's superglobal variable again to report back the error number. Okay, so assuming there's been no errors, we now need to report back information about the file that's been uploaded just to check that everything is as we think it should be. The first thing we're going to do is echo back the name of the file. So again, I'm going to use a string literal. File name. And again, make use of the file's superglobal variable. and this time make use of the name variable that's been uploaded with this file upload. Okay, so I'm going to report a number of these and then we'll look at how this works. Okay, so you can see here that I've added a number of new lines, basically just reporting back the file type, the file size and the file location, so we can see this displayed on the screen. Also at the end of each line I've just put in a little bit of HTML, the line break tag BR, just to tidy everything up and make it look okay when we view it. If we go to the form.html file now, we can visit the page and choose the file that we want to upload. I've got a little file here just called test. It's a small text document for test purposes. And if we submit this now, we can see that it's uploaded successfully. The file name is test.txt, file type text plain, size is 14, I guess that's kilobytes, we could have perhaps added that, and the file location is in temporary folder. So the problem with the version of the script that we've created so far is that it's storing the file in a temporary location. And this means that once the script is finished, the file will be effectively deleted from the folder. So what we need to do now in version 2 is to create a more permanent location for our file uploads and create the script that will move the file to that location. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create a new folder in our file upload folder. And we're going to call this folder upload. And we just need to prepare this folder by setting some permissions to allow our end users to write to the folder. So in set permissions, we need to make sure that the group everyone write is switched on. So what we're going to do is add a few lines of code to our existing upload file.php script. And the first thing we need to do is we need to check to make sure that a file by the same name that the one we're currently trying to upload doesn't already exist in the upload folder. Obviously what we wouldn't want to do is overwrite a file that's previously been uploaded by the user. So we can do an if statement, and we're using a PHP function called file exists, and this takes one argument, simply the path and the file name of the file that we're wishing to upload. So we want to check in the upload folder and concatenate to that the name of the file. So once again we're going to use the files file name. So this can now check to see whether that file is already there. Remember to use two curved brackets to close this off, one to close off the file exists function and the second one to close off the if statement. And if the file does exist, we're simply going to echo back a message to the end user warning them that the file is already there. So echo files, and I'm going to just concatenate a little message to that saying already exists. Now, assuming that the file doesn't exist already and we can successfully upload, we now need to move the file that's been stored in the temporary folder to this new location. And we do that using the move uploaded file function, another PHP function. And this takes two arguments. The first argument is the path and name of the file where it's currently existing in the temporary folder. So of course for that we can use the file's temp name variable. We've already used that previously when we were reporting back on the successful upload. And the second argument, remember to separate these with a comma. The second argument is the destination, where we want to copy it to, where we want to move it to. So that's of course upload. And in this instance, I'm just simply going to use the name that the file already has. So once more, I can use the file's name variable. But it may be that you want to use a different name for this. Obviously, if you were databasing your files and you were having lots of uploads, you might want to use a different naming convention, maybe a numerical sequence so that you can keep each unique. So whatever you choose to call it, that's what goes in as the second argument, as long as you get the path right to the upload folder. And remember to close off the function with a curly brace. And the last part we're going to do is simply echo this back to let the end user know where the file's been stored. So stored in, and for the last time, we're going to use the file superglobal variable. And finally, we just need to close off the curly brace for the else statement there, and we can save that file and test it out. Okay, so now we're ready to test our finished script. Of course, we do that by first launching the form.html so that we can select the file we want to upload. And if I select the file, we'll use the same file, the test file, and submit. You can see here that it's reported that it's been stored in the upload folder, given the name test.txt. So if we look in the upload folder now, we should find that file has been stored there, and there it is, the test.txt file. We've seen how easy it is to create file upload functionality with a simple HTML form and just a few lines of PHP script. But here are some things to consider. Throughout the PHP script, we've made constant use of the file's superglobal variable. Typing this out over and over again is not very efficient. How could we modify our script so that we didn't have to keep doing this? Also, there may be times when you want to limit the types of files that end users can upload. For example, you wouldn't want them to upload video files to an image gallery. How could you modify the script to ensure that only the right file types are uploaded? Finally, servers often place file size limits for file uploads using the PHP ini file. Explore how you could change this to either limit or increase the file size your site allows.